Welcome back to Project Zomboid. Today we're starting maybe 1 or 2 days after where the last episode left off. This is just because pretty much nothing happened during those days and I was mainly just reading books. My plan for today was pretty simple. I wanted to go back to the town, but this time I figured I'd take a more tactical approach. I wanted to stock up on some improvised crossbow bolts so that I could then go and pretty much take out all the alternates from a distance. Additionally, it was strangely quiet today. For some reason, I barely heard any alternates walking around or banging on doors. This was somehow more unnerving than knowing that there's a lot of alternates around. Unfortunately for me, my plan of going to the city was going to be postponed for a while. After all, there was this massive storm going on outside and I really didn't feel like going out with this. The fog already hinders my visibility. Mix that with a storm and I probably wouldn't be able to even see anything before it got to me. I went ahead and skipped pretty much 2 days worth of just sitting in my room reading books. But what I can tell you is that by now my food storage was looking like 5 cans, 3 bags of chips, and a bottle of maple syrup. Needless to say, I couldn't wait here much longer. Since I was running out of food, I figured that as soon as this storm went away, I would try and make my way to the town. Unfortunately, due to the way that Restless Zombies Fixed works, I probably wouldn't be alone there. This day was very silent. I practically didn't even hear a single alternate walking about or banging on a door the entire day. I figured I'd go downstairs to check out what's going on, but I didn't see anything there. It seems like the game gave me some kind of a grace period. What this could mean, I don't know either. Unfortunately for me, it was still stormy outside. And now my sleep schedule was also ruined. Essentially, all I could do for the time being was stay indoors and read. After reading a couple of recipe magazines, I decided to check out the crafting menu. I went over to the crossbows tab, and I realized that now I had the ability to make my own crossbow bolts. This was a huge advantage, as not only are they reusable, but I can keep making more if I ever need it. They do require scrap metal, but I'm pretty sure I can just find that in trash that randomly generates around the place. What followed was about an entire day of me just walking around my compound looking for garbage. I actually found quite a few useful items in primarily the alternate corpses, such as medications and a couple of crafting materials. But I was really just looking for scrap metal. What I found particularly strange was that even some of the biggest rooms that I almost never cleared out were completely empty. It seemed like the alternates had completely abandoned following me for the time. After quickly fixing my sleep schedule, it was finally time to go check out the town. I decided I would exit through my escape rope, primarily just so that I could keep all my doors barricaded. Outside, there seemed to be a few alternates roaming about. One of the only advantages of them being horrifyingly pitch black is that I can actually see them quite clearly through the white fog. Additionally, the fact that they start yelling horribly loud at me when they chase is actually pretty helpful here. While making my way over to the north end of the building so that I could get out, I decided to stop by the garage to check for things. Maybe there was some scrap metal I had missed. Inside, I really didn't find anything useful. Sure, there were some tools which I guess I could disassemble later if I read the right magazines, but for the time being, there really wasn't anything of interest here. While there were no items here, there were some alternates. I figured I'd stay indoors until I actually left for the town. My plan was to go all the way up to the top of the sort of bedroom, barracks areas, and then I would leave through there. I decided to stay indoors because it's a lot easier to tell when you're being chased. When outside, I figured I shouldn't even try to crouch here. After all, there's a lot of trees already blocking line of sight, and if I'm crouching, I'll have a much harder time getting up and trying to run away. Thankfully, the town is quite literally just a 10-second walk away. At least the road is. This time I figured I wouldn't go into such an easily invadable spot like the little cafe I was in last time. I didn't see any alternates at first, which was a good thing. But this just meant that they were hidden in different locations. I decided to jump over this wall into this gated off house. This was probably my best option here, as it's the most hidden place I could see near me. Inside there was regular house loot, but as someone who's been living in some weird nondescript building for the past few days, it's honestly refreshing. The kitchen, however, is where what I really want is. Here I actually found quite a lot of food. Finally, I could get a ton of canned food back to my house. Finally, I could get some food. At last, I could get some new cans to put on my shelves. After all, my main problem wasn't that I didn't have food. I had quite a bit of food, the problem was that it was perishable. And once the power goes out, I can't rely on that. I did, however, start hearing alternates. Another house alarm was then set off. I decided just to stay hidden. Considering where I was, none of them could see me here. Unless they learned how to jump over walls, the chance of me being detected was actually pretty low. The only problem was that they would probably get attracted to the building directly across the street from me. Eventually, the alarm ended and I set off again. I started out by exploring the rest of the house, which had quite a bit of garbage on the floor and a sewing kit. Unfortunately, the sewing kit was missing a needle, so I couldn't braid my bags yet. I did, however, find something very important in this big wardrobe. A new backpack. It might not seem like the biggest upgrade, but even just a little bit extra carry weight makes all the difference. Also, there's alternates outside. Checking out the rest of the house, I went into this bedroom and found a shotgun. This shotgun used regular 12 gauge ammo, which was pretty good. I had more of this back home, so if things ever got desperate, I knew what I could use. Whether I would use it on them or on me just depends on the situation. Though for the time being, I'd much rather use my crossbow as it's completely silent. I made my way into the garage in the hopes that there would be something of use here. There was a second sack which I could use to carry more dirt to my rooftop farm I had made. Besides that, there were a couple of nails and some seeds, but really nothing special. I could already hear them waiting around for me outside. I had my crossbow ready and my axe. I had my axe and my crossbow ready though. If too many of them started running, I'd just go back in the house. I quickly read a book to take care of my boredom, and then I went outside. I quickly noticed what appeared to be an alternate using some kind of prisoner costume, and another one right across the street from me. I managed to take that one out with a crossbow and quickly reloaded inside the house. I then went back outside to look for the one dressed like a prisoner. I couldn't see anyone else on the other side of the street, so I figured it should be just him next to me. I quickly recovered my crossbow bolt, which is easily my favorite feature of the crossbow mod, and saw him charging at me. He wasn't carrying anything in his duffel bag, but there was more than enough loot throughout the town, so I wasn't exactly upset. Looking around, the town seemed suspiciously empty. I decided to go check out this other house across the street. It had some kind of graffiti on the side, so maybe that meant something. Inside though, it seemed to just be a normal house. After realizing that it was actually getting pretty late, I figured I'd try and secure a room. But first, I found a Remington Model 700 in this other wardrobe. I don't know what it is with the Project Zomboid civilians and keeping guns in their wardrobes, but I'm not gonna complain. There was also a box of ammunition for it, which I promptly used to load it up. Not that I was going to use this either for the time being. After all, my main survival strategy for the time being was just to not get detected. I then decided to use this wardrobe to try and block off this window, just to make me feel a little bit safer at night in case I had to sleep here. After all, it was already 7 p.m. Going into the kitchen, I heard an alternate really close. At first I thought it was inside the garage, but he wasn't. I then checked my backyard, and he also didn't seem to be there, so I figured he was over the wall. If I could just take him out, I would sleep a lot safer and I would feel much safer at night, so I decided to try and go get him. was then ambushed by two alternates. It was almost like they set up a trap, as I couldn't hear the other one whatsoever, but apparently he was waiting for me. They got me with a severe laceration to my neck. This was bad. If I didn't take care of it, I would bleed out soon enough, but first I had to lose them. I tried running through this house, but one of them went through the window, determined to try and stop me. I managed to hide inside of the bathroom and quickly bandaged myself up before leaving through the back window. After such a close call, I decided not even to try and be stealthy. I simply sprinted all the way back to my base. I had to get back to my safe room as fast as possible, as if I got any more bleeding inflicted onto me, I could easily die from blood loss. Even back inside my house, the bloody overlay on my screen was a reminder of how close I got to death on this day. I quickly made my way all the way back into my safe room, ignoring even a few alternates trying to break in. Unfortunately, not even here I was safe. As you can see by my health menu, I basically only survived through sheer luck. If I was chased for pretty much any longer, I wouldn't have had the time to bandage up, and I would have most certainly died of blood loss. For the time being, however, I was still relatively thankful that at least I didn't die. I was, however, in pretty bad condition, and until I healed up, I wouldn't be able to do much. At least I hadn't lost my loot. I managed to bring back a lot of food and even a couple of new magazines to read. So for the time being, I was safe here. Additionally, if things really went wrong, I now had quite a few new weapons to use. Now that I was back, I decided to just put away a lot of items and make a sort of weapons cache I could use. Wasn't exactly organized yet, but I now had quite a lot of time to organize things. I probably wouldn't be leaving this room for quite a while now. Not in this condition, at least.